Hey there, welcome to Craft Central Designs. Today I have for you a beautiful Easter to spring floral decor piece with an adorable jute cord covered wooden egg bunny peeking through the foliage and spring flowers, all placed in a wood crate from Hobby Lobby. I am just loving this one, and I hope you do as well, and I hope you feel inspired to make one. Welcome to all to my channel today. If you enjoy this tutorial and you are not currently a subscriber, I hope you will consider becoming one. As well, please give this video a thumbs up and share with your friends and family. And as always, your comments and questions are always welcomed. Okay, let me show you how easy it is to create this beautiful spring and Easter decor piece for a buffet table, a mantle, a foyer table, a dining room table, or anywhere where you would like a lovely pop of spring color. Okay, let's get busy. This is the wood crate that I mentioned from Hobby Lobby. It was $9.99, but I got it 40% off. It is a very substantial piece. It is made extremely well, very well constructed, and it certainly is far above the quality of wood that you would get from the Dollar Tree to create one. So we're only talking, 40% off of $9.99. You do the math. It is a really inexpensive, substantial size vessel to hold all of those florals and our very cute bunny. Okay, I have some macrame here from Hobby Lobby. I believe it's 4-ply. I believe that's correct. I'll put that in the description box. I'll check that. But you can see how it looks on my hand to determine how thick it is. Here is my wooden egg. I believe they have these at Hobby Lobby. I think they have them as well at Michael's. I believe it is around 3 3/4 inches high, almost 4 inches. And it is a wood egg. It's very nice. However, I want to tell you that if you want, you could use a styrofoam egg. Now, it's going to be very lightweight, lighter weight than the wooden egg, of course. But it will work just the same. Once you cover it with jute cord, you're not going to know what's on the inside anyway. So you could get, if you could find, I think possibly you could find an egg-shaped styrofoam piece at Hobby Lobby. That jute covered wire there, that's what I used to create the ears. I got that from Dollar Tree. I had a little piece of fabric there, which I didn't end up using. I'm showing you some different options for eyes for the bunny. I ended up using 2 small black buttons. I do have a wood round there, half wood round, I'm sorry, which I'm going to paint for the nose. I was looking to try and find a little very small heart to use for the nose, but the most I could find was that one with the curved heart, and I didn't think that looked quite right on the face. Okay, this is a very pretty ribbon if you want to do this in a farmhouse theme. Now, you could go any direction, any style you want with this piece. I'm trying to show you how you could do it in a couple of different styles. Now, that is a very good option. That's a real good ribbon from craftcentraldesigns. And I got that this very recently, so it should be available on their site. This ribbon, I'm showing you a number of different choices. That one that I just showed you, I think that was Amazon. This one, I believe, is another craftcentraldesigns. I'm just showing you a lot of options for ribbons that you could use. This is a very pretty pink that I got from craftcentraldesigns. All these are 2.5 inches. Another really pretty, very cute ribbon, another one from craftcentraldesigns. Now I'm showing you these 2.5 inch ribbons, which they can be used for a bow. I ended up, however, opting for a 1.5 inch ribbon. After I, got into creating the piece, I decided to change it up and go with a 1.5, but you can use a 2.5. That's very doable. I'm showing you here some florals that I got from Michael's. I love Ashland Spring Florals. These are the same florals from Michael. They're Ashland, a very light pink, small flower. Here's a deeper pink of the same flower. Now, my bunny, my jute bunny, is going to be peeking up through lots of foliage and little flowers. Now, here are some of my daisies from Hobby Lobby. Those are great options for the piece. And some other pretty options I'm showing you here. These bunches of greenery are from Hobby Lobby. I always pick up my greenery every other week at 40% off. And this greenery here is one of my favorites. It's very leafy and pretty color green. I also have some other different types of greenery because whenever I do a floral piece, I like to have a lot of types of greenery inserted. It really adds a lot of visual interest. So this is my crate. I really love this crate. I will put the dimensions of it in the description box. But it's, like I said, very sturdy, very, very nicely constructed. I have some Snow White Waverly chalk paint and antiquing wax from Waverly. I'm going to be putting stain on that crate and then doing a whitewash over it with Snow White Waverly chalk paint. I have my drill here with a very small drill bit. I'm going to be drilling a hole in the bottom of my wooden egg. Now, if you use styrofoam, of course, you don't have to do this, but I did have to have a means to put the little stake, which you could use a skewer as well, into the bottom of my egg because I do need to put that down into the floral foam. And the reason why I put 2 little holes at the top was because I'm going to be creating those ears with a little bit of a heavy wire. And I thought if I had 2 little holes at the top, I would be able to poke that wire down in the holes. Now I'm going about wrapping my eggs. I'm going to start on the bottom. But I'm going to make sure that I can still see my hole because once I get all of that jute cord placed on my egg, I don't want to have to, struggle to find the hole that I need to put my little stake into. That little stake I had was like, it was cut off from something like, one of those signs that has the stake in it. So I keep things like that. You never know when you could use it. Just like today, I'm using it for my wooden egg. So I start with a little bit of glue on the bottom. Make sure I can still see my hole. I did end up putting some pipe cleaners in there. Just little pieces of pipe cleaner to delineate where my holes were. Because I was just thinking, okay, I do not want to cover up those holes. So you'll see how I did that here in just a minute. So now I'm going to start wrapping my egg, and I'm going to wrap it very carefully, and I want it straight on my egg, not going sideways. So you have to watch it when you're wrapping something like this, that you keep it on a straight path, if you will. So I put a little bit of glue every, half an inch, really, because I want that to really go on there very, very well. So I do spend a good bit of time placing that on so I get everything nice and straight on there. So I'm working my way up to the top of the egg. Now this is a very easy process, but it's one that I like to do meticulously because I don't want to look at my egg after I get it all covered and discover that the jute cord is going a little bit sideways. That would make me crazy. Okay, so you can see here that I put the little pipe cleaners in there just to mark that area where my holes are so I'll know where they are so I can pop my wire for my ears. Speaking of, here we go with the ears. Now, I just had a very little piece of this. It's a heavier wire that's covered with a jute twine. They sell this at the Dollar Tree. If you can't find it, you could always wrap your own with like a jute twine rather than a heavier cord. You could just use a jute twine, like the twine they sell at the Dollar Tree, and take a heavier wire, shape your ears, and just wrap it. So basically, that's what that is in my hand, only it was already done for me. It came in like a coiled up bunch at the Dollar Tree. Sometimes they have it, sometimes they don't. But I'm doing some long, skinny ears for my bunny, which is my very favorite way to do ears for an Easter rabbit. I like them long and I like them narrow. Okay, so I have formed my ears. Make sure I have each of them generally the same shape. Now at the bottom, I am going to use some hot glue and just glue those together in the shape that I want them. Now I have this jute. I keep saying jute, so it's on my tip of my tongue. I have some burlap here, and perhaps you'll recognize that because I used it previously on a project. I am going to use a piece of that burlap from Walmart. I like it because it has a little bit of something on it. It has a little bit of those little embroidered splotches. I don't know what you call them. They're not exactly polka dots. But I know that I want to put that on the back of my ears to show on the front. So I'm on the back of my ears now, and I cut out a little piece, generally this shape. I place it down on there where I want it so that those little white splotches are going to show through the way I want them. Details, details, details. Yeah, I pay a lot of attention to those little details. They contribute wonderfully to the final product, if you will. So I used Aleene's Techie, and I just placed that on there and put a couple of clips from the Dollar Tree. And I did both ears, as you can see there. Now I'm looking at creating some whiskers. Now, I like my bunny whiskers to just be kind of crazy. Just frayed out jute cord. I like them to be very wispy and just frayed and fuzzy. And I just like my bunnies very whimsical and, cute. So I cut some jute cord there, and now I'm pulling it apart. I believe it was around 5 inches that I cut, and I'm going right there in the center, and I'm going to adhere that. Now, you can always trim up your whiskers later once you get it on the piece and cut them as short as you want. But I will be, taking my fingers and fraying that out. Now, these bunnies do look, this bunny, singular, does resemble the other bunnies that I did with the egg bunnies. A little bit different in some ways, but generally, yeah, I just love the design of this bunny. And I had that wooden egg, and I said, you know what? I am going to create one of those very cute bunnies with a head that's going to be poking up and out of the greenery and the flowers in the garden. And that's the way I wanted to design this floral centerpiece. Now, this centerpiece is going to be very versatile in that after Easter, you could pull that bunny head out, keep it for next year. Any little hole that's left where that bunny was, you could just pop in a piece of greenery and a flower to fill the space. And for the ribbon or the bow that we're going to be placing on the other end, you could just pull that out. And again, just adjust your greenery a little bit. And you have a lovely spring arrangement. You could, again, of course, add anything you want to that. You can add a couple of bigger flowers. Just by simply popping in something else into the arrangement, you have a whole new look. So think about how you can create your pieces with versatility. I always think about that when I create a piece. Sometimes with wreaths, you can't really do that, but with centerpieces, oh yes, you definitely can. Okay, so I put a little bit of wire on the center of my whiskers, and I wrap that around to delineate the center, and I have my little wood half round, and I'm going to paint that pink. And I do give that 2 good coats, so I have a nice rich pink color for my nose on my bunny. Now for the head of my bunny, I'm going to show you some different options. And yes, I do show options on my channel because maybe you don't shop where I shop. Maybe you don't have the same stores that I have. Maybe you don't have the same selection that I have at Dollar Trees or a Hobby Lobby. So I'm always going to show you options, and hopefully that is a help to you. For the head of this bunny, if you want to do farmhouse, I would use that jute colored gingham check or that polka dot there with a burlap color background. I think that would be fabulous for a farmhouse arrangement. Now, I know farmhouse is still very popular, and I love it as well. Ultimately, I'm going to be doing my piece in pinks. That's just something that I often gravitate to, but I do love farmhouse as well, so I do like to show you that. Now, for the center of the bow, you can use some of these little paper flowers from the Paper Studio aisle at Hobby Lobby. Absolutely love them. This is another option that's very neutral. It's a pretty white ribbon. I get this ribbon at Walmart in the sewing department where the ribbons are. I love this ribbon, and you've seen me use this many times if you follow my channel. Now I'm going to show you how I do a figure 8 bow here. If you do it the way I do it, the way I just did it, you will always have the right side of the ribbon facing you, which is what you want when you're creating a bow. So I simply shape my ribbon into a figure 8. I hold it in the center with my thumb and my index finger. Then I take a very tiny piece of floral wire. This is 26 gauge. I picked this up at the Dollar Tree. Awesome for making little bows. Twist it really tight on the back. And if I do that, it gathers up the center of the bow. And I really like the look of that rather than to have it flat. Now, I only make a figure 8 bow if I have the intention of placing something in the center, because I never leave the center bare on any of my bows ever. Okay, so I just don't do that. So if I do a figure 8 bow, that means something is going to be placed in the center. Otherwise, I have a really awesome wood block bow maker that I'm going to do a video on in the future and show you how I use that for little bows. But for this, I'm just back to this one. I'm just doing a figure 8 bow with about an inch long tail. Now this is going to go at the head of my bunny. Now, full disclosure, you may have noticed on the intro video that bunny had a very hearty sized bow on its head. Ultimately, I changed the bow. Yeah, that's my prerogative. You know, I do change my mind while I'm working on pieces. I have a general idea what I'm going to do at the onset, but then sometimes, yeah, I make big change. And I think the one I made change to, I am going to show that to you. It's so cute. So no harm done here, though, because I'm showing you how to make these little bows. If you like a more conservative bow on your bunny, great, then do the smaller ones. I've done this on other bows, on other bunnies. But I'm just, just had this idea as I progressed in creating this piece to change the bow on the head of the bunny. And I'm going to show it to you. I think you'll agree. It's super cute. But this would be the bow that you would create. Perhaps that would be the bow you would create for a farmhouse theme. Now, if I did this piece in farmhouse, I would do a lot of pretty white flowers. A lot of different types of greenery. Maybe some daisies. Yeah, that's what I would do. And it would be so pretty. All right, so now my ears are all dry with that tacky glue that I placed that burlap on. And I'm just trimming away the excess now. Now I have my super cute long ears for my bunny that I can bend over. I just love to bend over the tips of my bunny ears. All right, so now I'm able to see the holes, yeah, or at least feel for them. I can't see them necessarily, but I'm placing my ears on. And I am going to have to use a combination of tacky and hot glue, but I'm trying not to use too much hot glue when it comes to all that jute cord and burlap. You know how that can be. Okay, so we're going to deviate now and go and get this crate ready to go while my bunny ears are drying. Now, yeah, this is the crate. I love it. Like I said, super sturdy piece. Even if you picked up these pieces of wood, which I don't even think you could get them this long, at the Dollar Tree, perhaps I guess I have seen the longer pieces. These are not 12-inch. They're longer than that. I can't remember at this very moment the dimensions of this crate, but I'm going to put everything relative in the description box. Okay, so I have my Waverly antiquing wax, and I have something down to protect the table, and I have a cloth because I'm going to be using one of the larger sponge applicators, and I'm going to place my antiquing wax on my wood. Now, Hobby Lobby has pretty decent wood, certainly better than the Dollar Tree. At least it's straight. Sorry, Dollar Tree, I'm picking on you today. But anyway, it does, kind of the stain or the antiquing wax goes on kind of the way it wants to, basically. I mean, I go along the grain of the wood, but you can see that it has a mind of its own, that wood. So that's one of the good reasons that I came up with to do like a distressing or kind of a whitewash over it with a chippy brush. So I went ahead and I did the whole entire thing, inside, outside, and the bottom. So now I'm back to my bunny, and my ears are all, oh, look how cute it is already. So I already bent over my ear. I have my little stake there that I snipped off of something. But again, you could use like a wooden skewer, the kind you use for barbecuing or whatever. You could use one of those. Now I'm showing you what it looks like, to put those little bows on. And I actually did put the bow on. And fortunately, in the world of crafting, we have hot glue. So if you change your mind, yeah, you just peel it off. And that's what I did later on. But I like the white bow. Absolutely, I like the white bow. But something just told me that this other ribbon that I wanted to use was going to really take it up a few levels, a few notches on the cute meter, if you will. So I put that little white flower in there, which is super cute. I'm going to cut off my tails a little bit, angle them with my sharp scissors. I always keep one pair of sharp scissors. I have a bunch of dull ones that I use for things that are like cutting pipe cleaners and things like that. Okay, so at the center of the face, I have my whiskers, and I am going to use hot glue and glue on my whiskers. And then I have my buttons for the eyes. So I'm going to go ahead, little dab of hot glue there. Glue on my whiskers. Now, my whiskers are pretty full. I can trim them down. I can eliminate some if I want to, if it's too much. But I always like to start with a good amount, and then I have the option to trim them or to actually eliminate some of them. Okay, so I put my little wood half round because it's all dry from painting. And now I have a nose on my bunny, and yeah, it's getting cuter by the minute. Now, I went to put on these eyes. These are like a satin-covered button that I got in the sewing department at Hobby Lobby. And I had a bit of trouble just getting them the way I wanted them to sit on that face. So I ended up changing to a flat button. It's just a plain black flat button with the 2 holes in it. The reason why I chose these is because they have the shank on the back. So the front of the button was completely solid, which I thought was great for the eyes. But this eye here, you're going to see me struggling a little bit just to get it the way I wanted it. And then I started feeling like the eyes were too big. Yeah, I was going, not everything goes smooth for me, I do have I have my moments, but I am a very patient crafter, so I don't let anything bother me. So I went to my little button stash, and I'm showing you here. I had some little black buttons. They have 2 little holes in them, but I'm fine with that. And then later you're going to see me put a little teeny tiny little white dot for the light in the eye. These went on much easier because they were totally flat on the back. That's what the problem was the shank on the back of the button. I believe that's what it's called, a shank. Anyway, so whatever it's called, I got rid of it and I put the flat buttons on. Now I'm going to take a very fine tip paintbrush, and I just take the cap of my Snow White Waverly chalk paint, and I put that down on the table, dip my little paintbrush, my fine tip paintbrush in there, and give that bunny a white light in the eyes. And as typically I do, I also did a little swoosh over the nose. I like to do that with all of my characters. Just over the top of the nose, it just kind of gives it a softness. And that's completely up to you. You could do this or not do this. But when I do it, I take a little bit bigger brush, kind of a bristly one, and I take a paper towel and I rub almost most of the paint off my brush. And then I just kind of brush it over the top of the nose. Make sure I get my whiskers out of the way there. And that's what I like to do with the face of my bunnies. So you can see it's just right over the top, just a little bit of kind of a dry brushed white over the nose. And I love the way that looks. She's so cute, right? Okay, now I did go ahead and make bows because I wanted to do this in case you want to create a bow of this size with that 2.5-inch ribbon. And in particular, that bunny ribbon, which is super cute. And like the farmhouse colors. So I pinch my ribbon. That's the first thing I do. And then I want to say that's about 8 inches in length. And I fold it over and pinch it in the center. And I hold it with my index finger and my thumb. I left about an 8-inch tail. Now, I'm going to go to the other side and fold over my loop. Same size, just eyeball it. Pinch it in the center. Always twist the ribbon before you go to make another loop. Fold that loop over, pinch it in the center with my index finger and my thumb. If I need to adjust the size, I do it then. Now this is just going to be a 4-loop bow. Twist my ribbon, fold it over, same size loop, pinch it in the center. Now I'm just going to take a pipe cleaner, wrap it around the center, pull it nice and tight, twist it in the back. Now, as I mentioned before, all of my bows get something in the center. I never leave the center open. To me, that's an unfinished bow. So I'm going to just create a single loop going right down the center, which I just did there. Just roll it under one more time, roll it under, take my thumb, press it to hold it, and then take my other fingers, scrunch it up in the center. And now I'm going to take my pipe cleaner from around the back, pull it through the center loop, and now that is all secure. Twist it in the back again. Now I'm going to cut my tails off about the same length as my other tail. Now I could see that I have a bunny in the middle, but it's going the opposite direction. So I think what I'm going to do in this case is just pull the tail that's on the top, just pull it down underneath and marry it up with the other tail. Now I can put my bow any way I want on the piece, and I have that that bunny going right down the center of that loop. Look how cute that is. And as it turned out, it was a burlap colored bunny, which goes so great. This ribbon is trimmed in a burlap color as well. So it really picks up on the burlap colored bunnies on there. The other bunnies are black and gray. Okay, so back to the crate because my antiquing wax is all dry now. Now I am going to do a dry brushing over that whole crate. Well, not actually the whole crate. I did the sides, all of the sides. So I didn't do the inside. I didn't see any need for that. Now I'm going to take a paintbrush. I guess you could call it like a chippy brush, but it has kind of scraggly bristles, and that's what I want. I dip it in my paint and then I dab it off on the paper towel. I do not want a globs of paint on my paintbrush, so I very delicately, very lightly touch the top of my paint in my paint dish there. Then I dab it if it's got too much on the paper towel. And then I'm just going to go with the grain of the wood and I'm going to distress this piece. Now, if you have heavy areas where your paint was a little bit heavier, honestly, I think that looks good. I'm going to show you my piece here in a bit to show you where I had a little bit of a heavy hand with my paint and I really loved it. Okay, so I have all of my floral foam in there, and as it turned out, it fit very snug in there. I got my floral foam, 2 packages of it from the Dollar Tree. Now I'm going to take my green Excelsior. You could use natural Excelsior. If you're doing like a farmhouse piece, you might want to do the natural color. That would look very good for farmhouse. Now I'm placing it down here a little bit over my floral foam, but I want to be sure that I'm covering up my floral foam on this side. And at the same time, I want little bits and pieces of that Excelsior to poke out. Just little scraggly bits. I love the look of that. Okay, so now my crate is all ready for my greenery. Now it's time to prepare my greenery. I have, again, this piece is from the Hobby Lobby, and I purchased it only on the 40% off weeks. I love this greenery. It's a really nice quality. I'm snipping it off from the main stem, and when I do that, I'm actually able to push the greenery up more toward the top of the little sub stems, if you will. Say that 10 times really fast. My goodness, sub stems. Okay, so now I have my pieces from Michael's. I'm just going to snip off a few of these from the main stem until I really know how many I want. I'm just guesstimating here how many of those I'm going to use. So I'm going to use some of the light pink ones. I love, love, love these Ashland Florals. They're the prettiest little flower. Now I'm also going to use some of the deeper pink ones. They're the same flower, but they're deeper pink. And I love the greenery that comes on those. The more types of greenery you use, the more interesting your piece is. Now I'm deciding here, where am I going to put my bunny? Now I know I'm going to put my bow on the left side at the very end. So I'm going to begin placing my greenery around my piece. Now what I want to do is I want to see my greenery kind of going over the edge of my piece. I don't want it just in the middle. I want it to be poking out and peeking out from the sides. I did use a couple of stems of these, this type of greenery from Hobby Lobby. It really filled up that container very well, but just added a really pretty green. And I like the fact that I can get that greenery to kind of do what I just mentioned, peek over the edges, kind of drape down a little bit. So I'm just going around the piece and just placing a number of those pieces around just to get a kind of a foundation for my piece. I put it in all the corners, one in the middle on one side and then one in the middle on the other side. Now this piece is going to have a front side, obviously, because the bunny is going to be facing the front, but I still think it would be cute from the back, just having the bunny head poking up out of the piece. So I'm going to make sure that I decorate all sides. Okay, now I'm going to start adding in my flowers. Now I'm just going to start placing them here and there. Now at first, it may look like not really much, if you will. It's not going to have like any real shape quite yet. So just begin placing your flowers around and try and imagine how you want your flowers to be positioned around your bunny. Now I am going to be inserting that bunny here and shortly, as you will see, but I keep in mind that at the far left end, I'm going to place my bow. Okay, so I just put my skewer in there, and first I thought I was going to put it in the middle, and then I thought, no, you know what? I'm going to put it on the other end to kind of balance out the bow on one end, the bunny on the other. Now, I placed the bunny down into the floral foam. I placed it kind of in the middle, but then I ended up moving it back just a little bit. So it was a little bit, just slightly back from the middle line of that container. If that makes sense. But you'll see me move it here shortly. I believe I did. Okay, so I have some of these fern pieces. These were left over from another arrangement that I did. So to create a stem to poke down into that floral foam, I just snipped off some of the bottom pieces of fern, the little fern leaves there, and I save those. Those come in very handy if I'm doing like a really small project where I need to put in little tiny bits of greenery. So I save those. So I'm going to continue placing. Yeah, I just moved the bunny back. Sorry, my hand was a little out of frame there. This is a really long piece, so I'm trying to show you what I'm putting in as well as the piece. And yeah, sorry about that. I'll get back in frame here in just a minute. But I'm continuing, even those little small pieces that won't go into the floral foam, that won't fit down in the floral foam because the stem isn't strong enough, I still am going to be able to use them. I could put a little dab of glue and stick them in, and they'll just adhere to the other florals in there. So I don't waste anything. I always save even the tiniest little flower. I have a bin that I keep just little tiny flowers that are left over from projects. You never know when you just need a little something. So I'm just clipping those off, and I'm just poking those here and there. I do like greenery to be poking up out of my arrangement and then poking out to the sides. Now this is another one of my very favorite greeneries from Hobby Lobby. It's a very fine greenery, kind of like feathery. That reminds me of like it's feathery. How does that make sense? But I love this greenery. It's really, really pretty in an arrangement. Now, I do try different florals in here. That particular flower, one of my absolute favorites from Hobby Lobby. And I did put those in, but ended up taking them out. Now, remember, when you're creating an arrangement, it's okay to put in your pieces, your floral pieces, and then just say, you know what, I don't like it, and pull it right out, because you could put something else in there. That's the beauty of floral arranging, is that, you can take things, put them in, take them out, pop something else in its place. So I have another greenery there. Did you see me? I just snuck another one in there. Now I'm deciding where I want it, but I can't quite get it the way I want it. So I keep pulling it in and pulling it out, putting it in, pulling it out, pulling it in. That's the way I am when I do floral design. But one of my favorite things to do is floral design. So yeah, I'll do it whenever I get a chance. So I'm going to continue putting in my greenery. I still have more of my ferns. I have a couple of those ones that you see in my hand right there. Those came in very handy in certain places on that arrangement. And what I liked about them is they poked up out of the piece. And I really like that. That's really nice. Now, this isn't meant to be a tall piece, obviously. It's a shorter arrangement. The kind of arrangement that you could put down the center of your table and still see the person on the other side of the table, if you know what I mean. This piece would be great on a mantle, on a buffet table. Awesome. Like on the back of a buffet table or even in the middle. Great for a foyer table. Just anywhere where you'd like, as I said, just a pop of spring, a little reminder of Easter. So I always try to acquire symmetry and balance on my pieces. You don't want too much greenery or too much flowers on one side and then not enough on another, so it looks unbalanced. So you just keep playing around with your florals until you achieve that look, that symmetry. Now I want to be careful that I don't see the stake where I stuck my my bunny into that floral foam. I want my bunny to look like it's just peeking up out of the garden. That's the idea for this piece. Now, I was looking at different options, those gorgeous orchid flowers from Michael's, but I ended up not really introducing any orchids or purples into this arrangement. I ended up adding some daisies, or what I think is Ashland's Florals version of a daisy. First, I put in some daisies from Hobby Lobby, and then I changed to the Ashland daisies. No matter, I just, okay, there's those white flowers that I suggested before that are my very favorite from Hobby Lobby, but I ended up taking those out, the bigger flowers there. Reason being because the petals were really off-white, and I have a lot of white on that piece. Not a lot of white, but enough white that I just felt that it didn't go. So here goes my little change to my bunny. Now you notice my bunny is out of the arrangement again. But I have this spring ribbon with spring flowers, daisies. And it's from the spring shop at Hobby Lobby. It's a beautiful satin ribbon. I love it. I created a figure 8 bow. Notice it's a wider ribbon, a 7/8 inch. And I created a figure 8 bow. Yes, this is a bigger bow, but I thought, you know what? That bunny poking up out of the garden needs something very fun and pretty on the top of its head. So I took one of my little teeny tiny daisies that came on a bush from Hobby Lobby. Now this is a little bit bigger flower than my white paper flower, but that's suitable because this is a bigger bow. So that little white paper flower would have kind of been lost on there, too small in plain words. So I needed a little bit bigger flower. So I decided to go with the daisy. And that's when I had the idea, instead of those white flowers that were a little bit off-white, to add daisies to coordinate with my ribbon that has daisies. This is so super cute. Now I put this on the top of my bunny's head, and I love it. I think it is so super cute. Goes nice with the bunny nose too. Okay. And here we have it down. Now, do you see the difference? It's just super cute like that. All right. So now you notice the daisies are gone. Yes. And I do change my mind here, but like I said, that's okay. It doesn't have to be one absolute way. This just tells you, how you can add different things, different flowers, different florals, change things around, and it gives you an idea how to balance out your arrangement. I started to say your relationship. What the heck was that? Oh, that was so silly. Okay, so I'm popping my daisies in there. Now, these are the daisies from Hobby Lobby, and I think they have really pretty daisies. These are the more expensive daisies. At Hobby Lobby, they have the section with the more pricey florals. These are really nice daisies. So I'd rather have the nice daisies than the cheaper looking ones. So what I'm doing here is I'm going to pop these in, but then I'm going to ultimately show you that Ashland Florals has a version. I think it's a daisy. Looks kind of like a little bit different than this one, but I think it's their version of the daisies. But whatever kind of flower it is, it doesn't matter. It looks like very similar to that. But I happen to love these Ashland Florals. I'm going to show you that here in a minute. But generally, what I'm doing here is just placing some white into the arrangement. And they're a little bit bigger flower. So that adds some visual interest to the piece. And I'm just doing a few of them, keeping in mind that I'm going to be putting that bow on the left side on the end of my piece. So now I'm just adding a little bit of balance by adding those white flowers. I have the bunny on the right side. And the one thing that I still need here, and you're going to see me point this out here in just a minute, is I want some greenery and maybe perhaps a flower kind of poking out the front of my arrangement. I did pop a nice flower toward the back. Now remember not to neglect the back of your piece, because if you have this on oh gosh, that's so cute. If you have this on a table, like a nice long rectangular table, this would look great on. You want the back of the piece decorated as well. Okay, so this is the ribbon that I'm going to use. I just went back and forth on this. I couldn't decide what ribbon, but I wanted to stick with something with pink on it and with a white background. So I used a 1.5-inch ribbon. So I decided to go with this one. And I just created a 4-loop bow with a single loop going right down the center. And I'm showing you how I'm doing that. And I've already described that to you, but I'm folding over my loops, pinching it in the center, making my loops symmetrical. And this is going to go right on the end of my piece. I leave about a 6-inch tail because I do like a little bit of tail coming out of the arrangement. And I kind of curl it under. You'll see me do this here in just a bit. Now I'm going to also show you how I'm going to get that bow to sit at the end of my arrangement. I have a little trick. I don't know if anyone else does it, but it's kind of similar to what they do when you get like an arrangement from a florist. They use a little stake, but I'm going to use a wood dowel. So that's my answer to that task of getting your bow to sit at the top of your arrangement, but have it secured into the floral foam. Now, no worries about those other 2 big bows that I created. I'm sure I will use those for something. But I just wanted to show you, give you an idea how you could do this in a farmhouse, or even just a lot of pink, like from that bow is very cute, that pink. It's got super cute little bunnies, polka dotted eggs, very cute ribbon. But I wanted to bring more white in. So like I suggested about your farmhouse, if you wanted to go farmhouse, I would add a lot of white flowers into this and maybe some daisies. You could put a touch of color as well. Maybe some light pinks or some light orchids. Yeah, that would be really pretty. Okay, so I have my bow here all completed. I have a single loop going down the center. My loops were about 8 inches, I want to say. And that's where the bow is going to go. Now I'm pointing here. I just need a little something there. So I went to my greenery spare piece. Do you see how I have that white splotch, kind of that heavier white? That was intentional on my piece. When I was doing my kind of whitewash over that or distressing, I created some areas with a little more white. Okay, so here's my dowel. I believe I got this was in a package of dowels from the Dollar Tree. And I placed it up in front of my crate just to get an estimate of how long I wanted it to be. So it needs to be long enough to fit into my floral foam, but not too long to poke up out of that crate. So that's where my bow is going to be attached. So I am going to simply hot glue that dowel to the back of my bow. Now I don't want it poking up over the bow, so keep it just right where the back of that bow is and not poking up over the bow. And this is how I create a means to place my bow into an arrangement. I'm going to just poke that right down into my arrangement. And I want it to sit right up snug in that greenery. I'm going to fix the loops of my bow to make it look like I wanted to. Then I take the tails, angle them, give them a little bit of a curl around, toward the front of the, look how pretty, toward the front of the arrangement. Now you can see those pretty fern pieces sticking up out of the arrangement. Okay, you see the flowers? Those are ashland. I think they're meant to be daisies. Okay, so I put a little bit of greenery on the front of that, a little bit of a different greenery. It had a little trailing piece, and I glued one of my flowers to that greenery. And you'll note that it's coming out of the front of the piece like I wanted it to. Look at those pretty greenery pieces poking up there. Okay, see what I did there? So now I have one of my flowers basically right in the front, facing forward, coming out of that. I have my flowers in the back, my greenery in the back, my cute little bunny poking up out of there. I'm loving this piece. I think it is just really precious. I hope you love it as well, and I hope you feel inspired to make one. Okay, remember, if you are not currently a subscriber, please remember to subscribe. Give this video a thumbs up and let me know what you think of this very cute arrangement. I hope you got a lot of tips and tricks for creating a piece like this along the way, because we did a lot of different types of skills on this one. Okay? Let me know in the comments. I love receiving your comments, okay? Until next time, you all take care.